I'm doing well. A lot of work has got done on Scuttle in the past few months, but today especially, I realized they needed to take a step back and kind of work on something else and kind of rejuvenate my inspiration. And I thought, what better not to do than a game jam? And so I looked up game jams, and the first one that popped up was Fish Fest. And I was like, this is like the universe telling me I need to make a fish game. And you're probably thinking, well, Dylan, haven't you set deadlines for yourself? And aren't you already under pressure just trying to get what you need to get done? And this is true. But things that I make for this game for Fish Fest could certainly be used in Scuttle down the road. And anything that I learn about the whole process of making a quick game from start to finish will indubitably could very much help Scuttle down the road. It's not far-fetched to say that. Also, I am kind of looking for how many times I can loop over learning game design to improve my product. Because what I've discovered about art and craftsmanship in general is the more times you can loop over something and practice it, the better it will be. This idea that we've been instilled with that we need to get like something perfect to be like our magnum opus is full of shit. To get better at something, you need to do it as many times as possible over and over again. Now that doesn't mean that you're like mindlessly churning out the same content, but you still need to loop over something while pushing yourself. And I think this is a great way for me to loop over all of game design and make something really quick, and then feed whatever skills, knowledge, and assets I have learned back into the real game that I'm making. I think it's going to be worth it. And here comes the train. So I'm going to stop trying to film outside. So I had 1 week to make a fish-themed game. The jam started on Monday at 7 p.m., so this Monday morning was really my last chance to work on Scuttle and finish up any major tasks so I could devote my full attention to the fish. Later that day, after getting home from seeing my parents for dinner, it was finally time to start. And what better way to start than to model a fish in Blender? So I chose this blue angelfish because I liked the way it looked. And the next morning, I was at my desk by 5:45 a.m. Not because I'm like a diligent worker or like I like mornings or anything. I hate mornings. They fucking suck. I just had like really bad anxiety and I couldn't stand to just sit in my bed with my own thoughts anymore. So I decided to get up and work on the fish game. But it was good I got up because I was able to work on the materials for the fish, and using some pre-made stuff and a lot of trial and error, I got some really cool textures that I could then import into Unreal Engine 5. At this point, I was actually feeling pretty good about the project. I was able to quickly make animations and rig the fish and import it back into Unreal Engine so that it would display as if it were swimming in the sea. And added some more character movement code. I just kind of toyed around with it until he could swim. And then he was flying. Sorta. Now I know what you're thinking. We are missing the water. This is a crucial part for fish to survive. I'm not sure if you knew. So I started making a new map with water this time, and it was kind of fun playing around with the underwater lighting and stuff. Like didn't know how many parameters there were with this underwater plugin that Unreal comes with, and I actually spent way too much time on it. And then there was Red Ocean, Blood Ocean, the only ocean we ever need. I mean, I changed it back to blue, but it was fun to play around with. And you put the fish in the water, and that's the only thing that you ever gonna need And I put some bubbles of light. Maybe they're the eggs. Maybe they're food. But you want to swim towards them. And I was like, wow, this game is almost coming together. And then the game was coming together, but I needed an antagonist, a monster, a force of nature to go against the fish just trying to get its eggs back. And so I decided none other than an eel. And eels are just naturally creepy and unsettling. And also I thought they would be easy to model. That they were more complicated than... I made it more complicated than it needed to be. But it seemed like a good idea at the time. Oh, and this is cool. I had the interesting idea to use a fingerprint texture for the basis of the eel, and then I overlapped it and overlaid it over itself with different sizes many times to give it this really weird kind of underwater texture. And I think it really came together. I think it really worked. I just added some more noise, and I just had the fingerprint texture like overlaid 3 times, and then with different colors and different opacities, and it looked pretty sick. I didn't do shit Saturday. Again, I did literally nothing on Sunday. And once again, I had to add the bones to the creature and make him dance and wiggle and chomping, and I had thought I was going to have a lot of time this weekend to work on this game, and the last day was just going to kind of be a breeze. Unfortunately, none of that happened, so I literally had to make the whole game the last day. Here I am, working on the AI for the eel character, which I thought was going to be super simple, and turned out to be a real pain in the ass. Essentially, the eel just roams around randomly, and if you get too close, he starts to chase you. And if you get too far away, he stops chasing you. Once the eel AI was somewhat usable, I started fleshing out the environment where the fish and eel would live. I added some sand on the ground and some rocks on the walls, but I realized I still needed something more for this map. Fish, 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 fish. At this point, there's no more time-lapsed footage because I started panicking because I only had a few more hours to upload this game to the Game Jam. So I decided to kick it into super mega overdrive mode. I should also mention that this is the day of the eclipse, and instead of enjoying the once in a lifetime experience of seeing eclipse shadows on the ground, I decided to work on this stupid game jam. I foolishly thought I had more time to make another custom asset, so I modeled, textured, rigged, and animated a plant that sways with the sea. And you may be wondering what that bizarre underwater fish music is. Well, instead of actually working on the gameplay, I decided to combine a bunch of old Moog samples and record and make my own song.
Once again, this took way more time than I had available.
I added some rock foliage to the ground, and I added a winning and losing condition to the game, which is pretty essential to most gameplay experiences. Also with the restart button to start the game over. So I was nearing the end of everything I sought out to do, and I thought I was actually gonna make it to this game jam. And then Unreal Engine just started crashing, out of the blue. As soon as I opened the program, it started crashing. And I only had a 30-second window to figure out why it was crashing before it would crash again. And after an hour of research and just trying to figure out what was causing this program to crash, it turned out to be having 2 local hike fogs in the water. But oh my god, this was so frustrating, but at least I got it to work. Then it was finally time to cook and package the game. I thought this was going to just be a one-button click, easy process and not take too long. Of course I was wrong again, and I had more troubleshooting to do, another hour lost, and it was taking over an hour and a half just to package this game. I had nothing optimized, and I really didn't account for it to take this long. Finally, I had a working executable of the game ready to go up. And I had missed the deadline for the game jam by 40 minutes. And I felt terrible. I wasn't really happy with the game. I was pretty upset that I couldn't upload anything, and I felt like I had missed the eclipse for no reason, and I realized I had pushed myself way too hard. I felt terrible that night, and I wasn't really proud of what I had done, and I hadn't felt just in a bad mood. The next day I contacted the Game Jam officials, and they said I could just post it on this secret link and have it be featured in the Game Jam, which was really nice, and it did make me feel a little bit better. But overall, I realized an important lesson that pushing yourself to the max is not always valuable. In fact, sometimes, more often than not, it can hinder you. I realized slow and steady is better than occasional exceptionalism. Like, being mediocre but still doing the work every day is compounding in a way that being really good some of the time can never hope to be. At least that's what I got out of this. For never having done a game jam, it was pretty fun. I'd love to do another one, maybe when I can actually get some work done on the weekend. Overall, this was totally worth it. Not just because I have some assets that I'm going to use for Scuttle, but also just going through the process, you learn so much more than just trying to get something perfect on your first try. You can play the fish game now at the link below. It's called Elsa, for no reason. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time when we'll be talking about the new and improved Scuttle.